welcome to our latest episode of What's the Word Slim Down panel. This week I'm joined by David Jennings and Johnny Ward as well. So just the three of us for the weekend action this weekend. How are you guys? You alright?
Yeah, good.
Seem a little nervous there. You alright?
No.
Petrified. Have you learned anything this week, David?
I have.
Yeah, what was it?
I have. And Australian viewers and listeners should tune out now.
Okay.
I have learned that Winks is not going to win the Cox Plate.
Okay.
Yes, you heard it here first. And I probably am the only person that will think this. But I fancy Ben Battle to beat Winks in the Cox Plate. I don't think Mooney Valley suits Winks at all because Hugh Bowman has to make his ground on the turn. She just about won it last year. To put it in perspective, Folkeswood was third in the race last year for Charlie Appleby. Was beaten about 3 or 4 lengths.
Yeah.
Rated 113. Ben Battle is a proper Group 1 winner, rated 122. So it's a different level. A horse that likes to race prominently, definitely going for a race. Oisin Murphy definitely rides, goes well fresh, no problem travelling, has form in Maidan. Was 25 to 1 with a firm earlier on in the week. That's gone. I think Ben Battle could go off about 4s or 5s.
Oh wow! So, but do you think you're going to put it up to Winks? Do you think Ben Battle can put it up to Winks?
Like I actually tipped this on Sunday in a paper because Jenno put me onto it and I had a look at it. But I don't think he'll beat her. But just at the prices, I mean, 25s each way look huge. Like. I'd love to see her in the Northern Hemisphere just to see what she's like because visually she's amazing, but I've no interest in looking up what she's beaten in Australia. I've enough to be doing looking at Dundalk on a Friday night.
Exactly.
But, you know,
important stuff.
This will give us some indication, I think, if Ben Battle, as Jenno says, he should run his race. He's a very solid yardstick. Very solid yardstick. His Maidan performance, if he could produce that, that's something that we can, so we have some sort of a yardstick for our Winks is. Yeah.
Third to roaring line at York.
He's limited, like he's limited now.
He's a limited Group 1 winner.
He's a Group 1 winner, but he's a limited Group 1 winner, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
he's a Group 1.5 horse.
He wouldn't get near even the good fillies that are around at the moment. But what I learned this week, I think, is that I'm just not well at all. Like,
okay.
Because I've been really buzzing for Dundalk tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, and also that Gavin Cromwell is just a top trainer. To win 3 in the bounce with Rex Drago, I thought was great going. Maybe people wouldn't know so much because he's winning at, I suppose, Kilbeggan and where was it yesterday, Clonmel, but a great training performance from the horse, from the trainer. I thought picked up at the sales, and Gavin will have a good winter, I think. Of
course, and Stable Stars Brass as well to keep you entertained too.
Yeah.
Let's move on with the weekend's action. Right, on to Saturday. The Ergo Cup is an absolute cracker as always. Okay, we were actually talking about this earlier. Son of Rest. He's what? He's about £10 well in. He was second in Group 1 last time out. Is he the best bet of all time, or is he one of the worst bets of all time?
No, like he's 11 to 2, and I still think that's probably a bit of value because I've no problem with him running 6 days later. I think he takes his racing fairly well. He does seem to probably run a bit better this time of year. I remember him running at Naas earlier in the season. I think a young claimer rode him, but he was off like I think he was actually running off a little bit higher than he is tomorrow, and he travelled unbelievably well. And I'd say he went odds on in running. And he kind of cut out and finished 4th of that. And looking at that, you're like, he's probably better at 5 than 6, but his performance over 6, his handicap form over 6 at his best is good enough to win this race. Yeah. And, you know, it wasn't a great Group 1 by any means, but the soft ground is the key. I think if the ground were good, I'd have no interest in backing him tomorrow. But I expect he's capable of running better than he did at the Curragh. He was actually going to get up at the Curragh if this were another half a furlong. He would have beaten Havana
He's
Grey.
Probably 5.5 furlongs is probably actually his trip, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's no good to us half a furlong down here.
But it's a flat track. It's going flat.
It's a flat track. You know, Fozzie wouldn't have. I'd say he's had very few runners in Britain full stop since he took the licence. He's going quite well. He's a very likeable horse and typical pivotal. He just likes getting his toe in, and you know, he's running against basically exposed horses. If you get a horse who's theoretically £10 well in, he really should win a race like this.
Yeah. He has won a handicap of mark of 103 in the Curragh before, but all his best form is at the Curragh. He's been placing 2 Farm 5s, he's 4th in National Stakes, and he won a handicap of 103.
I'd have a slight
concern his best
about
performance
that,
is what I mean.
But what I'm interested from DJ, who follows British form more than me, is the draw. So I don't really know how this is going to pan out draw-wise.
Well, the last 10 winners of the race, it doesn't
shed
any light on the subject. 4, 8, 8, 19, 19, 8, 12, 17, 15 and 20. So to put in perspective, the last 3 runnings of the race have been 8, 8, 4. So possibly you want to be drawn low. But a couple of key things with Son of Rest, obviously the ground is key, but he's only ever ran in the one handicap that you spoke about. That's his only ever handicap, and he won it off 103. He's been running in in stakes races. Apart from
I
that,
thought his run at Nace was in a handicap, but I could maybe I stand corrected on that.
maybe it was.
Yeah,
you
early
could be
in
right.
the season.
Yeah, you could be right. Obviously the ground is key to him, and this, like, the mark he's running off at the minute, he's probably a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
But the horse I thought was too big of a price. I think Son of Rest the most likely winner, but I think G-Force
Absolutely
is overpriced. Adrian Keatley, he's had 16 winners at Ayr in his career. It's one of these tracks that he actually targets, and his sole win for the stable since he joined Adrian Keatley from David O'Mara, I think he was with, was on soft to heavy ground, and he's taken the whole summer off.
That was at
fast
Nace,
ground,
and he
yeah.
absolutely
bolted up in April, and you know, he was fourth in this race 2 years ago off 102. He's a pound lower now. He's booked Clifford Lee for the ride. He's had 4 winners in the last fortnight. He's a good young rider, claiming £3.
And the ground, like.
Ground is key to him. Likes the track. Has ran well in the race before. There's 25 to 1 out there. You know, with Adrian, he's had one aim and one aim only for this horse.
Saw him at the Dogs lately, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it was like, you know, you rarely see.
Good character.
Yeah, good character. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
He knows how to celebrate.
He does, yeah. Hopefully he'll be celebrating tomorrow with G-Force.
I think Upstaging has a chance as well down at the bottom of the weight. It's a Mount Nelson horse who should go on the ground, and it's come down to a nice mark. It's been rated 100. It's down to like top 90s or low 90s at the moment. Ran okay at Ascot, and I think it doesn't actually have that. It hasn't run that much in soft ground, but it does handle it. Yeah. And off a low weight, it's like 33 to 1 Conor McGovern on it for Paul Cole.
You get extra places as well if you want to play each
absolutely.
way. You get extra places in this. So let's move on to Newbury then. The Millreef Stakes upcoming at 2:25. Look, Rib Chester, Harry Angel, James Garfield, recent winners. This it doesn't really look like there's another one of them in this particular renewal. But what do you make of it, Jenna?
Shocking race. Shocking race. Really, really bad.
That's a little bit.
No, this is bad.
It seems mad.
I think it's so bad that I think the Irish Rover actually deserves another chance. Do you know what? It was a terrible ride by Ryan. When I look back on at Doncaster, he got
How
there.
How short would he have gone in running? Like, he looked all over the winner.
All over the winner. Didn't finish in the first 3. It was incredible in that sales race. But I think it was, while I say it was a terrible ride, I think if I was in Ryan's position, and luckily for the Irish Rover I wasn't, because he'd still be panting.
It'd be no nay, never no more for him.
That would have been the end of
like that one.
I like that one, yeah.
Sue Magner is lashing the
They're going to run out of Irish Rover lyrics soon, aren't they? I mean, how many no nay nevers did they have?
Will be like, we can't have any more no nay never calls. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
We've
run out of lyrics.
Move on. You know, go back to your days of was and all that.
Yeah. Three layers. So I when the gap opened, I think he had to go, and then he went, and then like it looked like it was race over. But I think he's a funny sort of horse. Obviously, he wears blinkers. He's a little bit tricky, I'd say. But I think if you go back to the Phoenix Stakes run, he was within a length of advertise. This would win this race. I don't think they're any good. I really don't. I think it's a really moderate race, and it's interesting that Aidan is going back to war like a week after the Doncaster run. I think he'll probably win, but it's only due to the standard of the opposition.
Yeah, and who do you fancy anything?
I'm with him as well, and the key is he likes the track. He's won over the course and trip, and just that run the last day at Doncaster, I'd say he went about 6-4 on in running. He travelled that well. I'd be very surprised if they ride him the same. I think he's going to hold on to him and just hope that he has that pace. But on the pick of his form, as Geno says, like Shine So Bright was a bit disappointed the last day, I thought. They're much of a muchness. Maria's Diamond has
I'd
the
put
well
her
many
in as
times.
maybe it's something to make the frame around 7 or 8 to 1. But
in fairness, she's being fairly consistent, but you'd imagine it might her form might plateau at some stage. But the Irish Rover is quite solid, and I just think Aidan's horses might finish the season very well because they went through that blip where they're actually probably relatively fresh now, and he's solid. Like he'll run 108 is his rating, and that puts him bang there. And I do think they'll hold on to him a bit longer. Let's
move on to the 3:30 then at Newbury as well. That Group 3 sprint. This is a cracker actually. This one, Equilateral, Sioux Nation hit the bid in there.
It's more or less the equivalent to the Group 1 at the Curragh without Havana grade. Like it's similar race. And in fairness to Sioux Nation, and we're looking at what time is this race? 3:30. And what time is the Air Gold Cup?
At
3:50.
So if Sioux Nation here gives a boost to Son of Rest. In fairness, Sioux Nation, he's been a bit disappointing, fine big horse and so on, but he did run very well at the Curragh, and I think a similar performance might well do here. He's had some patchy visits to Britain, but his form in the July Cup is probably good enough, and if he performs to his Curragh level, he's a good chance.
What about you, John?
By far the most interesting horse, Equilateral, who, if you get a chance to watch the race at Leicester, he properly quickened now. Ryan Moore dictated a slow tempo.
Is he going to get a soft lead?
Well, he's not. And this is the thing. This is why he might be beaten, because he's going to be taken on up front, and he seems to sulk. I thought he sulked in the Commonwealth Cup. I have to say, visually watching a race, it's a long time since I've seen a horse hit the line so hard. It was. If you get a chance just to watch it the last day at Leicester, I thought it was a really good performance. But I think the rock solid horse each way, I think, is Hit the Bid.
Yeah.
Who flatters to deceive, looked like it was going to be challenging Havana Grey, just didn't quite get home. But he's
hated the ground apparently.
Yeah, he's grown up into a real athlete of a horse. I seen him in the Curr last Sunday, and he's really kind of filled out into his frame. I think he's almost guaranteed to finish in the first 3, and he's 7-1. So that'd be the play.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that assessment at all. If there's any bit of a bit of firm at all in the Gowran description, I don't think there is, but that'd make me up the bed even more.
I think we're heavy in Ballinrobe tonight, so it's finally turning into something like soft ground. Like and a lot of trainers, for example, Harry Rogers, who has soft ground horses, he's basically just not had any winners because he hasn't had the ground for about literally all year. Like
Gentle J won the other night.
Yeah,
40 lengths.
Yeah,
it was always going to happen.
All right, let's move on to the rest of Saturday. Anything else for you guys on Saturday first? Go on, take out the manuscript there, Jenna.
Are we going on to Gowran? No.
Yeah, you can do Gowran.
Will I mention Gowran here?
Yeah, mention Gowran, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give Ship of Dreams a chance in the list. Yeah, I like she's bumped into so many kind of good fillies this year, but she wears her heart in her sleeve. She was just beaten by Panstar. She's just beaten in the Oyster, or in the, what's the name of the Leicester race at Galway?
The Oyster, isn't it?
Is it the Oyster as well?
Yeah, that was the one this week, was it?
The one during the festival is
yeah, I can't remember that.
Just beaten in that as well. Just
by Dermot Wells.
Just deserves Yulon Gold Fairy. Just deserves a change of look, I thought. But I thought at the prices, given the track is likely to suit, I think Gowran suits something that's up with the pace. I think that's got a cracking chance. In the a couple of others at Gowran, in the 450, I thought Nana Bad was dropped to her, kind of the lowest mark of his career, dropped to 68. Dylan Hogan takes off £7. Won its maiden at Gowran. I think it ticks a lot of boxes. And I really like 2 in Air, 125 off piste. Mark Boylan has mentioned that in the show before. Big lump of a grey horse. I thought it's got in quite leniently. And also Collide in the 425 for Hugo Palmer. First handicap off a mark of 88. It has absolutely bolted up the last twice. Carlisle last time, I thought it might get even a 3-figure rating. It's got 88. I think he's a good horse. Richard Kingscote, who a new employee is a lookalike.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll show you
exactly
next week's show.
like
What's
him,
Leon's second name, and people can look him up? Leon
Carroll.
Leon Carroll.
Richard Kingscote.
Yeah, just
Richard Kingscote without the tattoos.
Yeah,
Richard Kingscote. Or Leon rides Collide in the 425 at Air. Get on.
Absolutely. What about you, Johnny, on Saturday?
I kind of like the card at Gowran, with the exception of the feature race. There's literally nothing more boring
every
than a
single
list
week
of
there's
fillies
this.
race at
Well, it's a
Gowran.
group 3. It's a group 3. So.
Sizzling and all these fillies,
Panstar,
blah, 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 you know. They'll run against each other, black tie.
They must have
blah,
little
blah,
chats
blah.
down the
Don't
start
really
and know each
care.
other so well. Like.
Yeah.
It's like that's what people say looking at this show every week with you.
Well, grand, but yeah. Well, in fairness, if I did have a run on the race, it'd be great. But anyway, I find them decidedly boring. But this is actually quite a good punting card, I think. Best Not Argue, I think, is basically gone by in the 345.
Yeah, I think great chance.
Massive eye catcher of Roscommon in victory, if that makes sense, and has a strong chance. Cosmic Symbol was so unfortunate to bump into one at Listowel. A very low draw, and I think this horse, Andrew Slattery claiming 7. As long as this horse gets handy, Gowran is a horrible track on the flat at times. If you're not up in the van.
Can I put up a huge price one against that in that race?
Can.
Face Off for Charles O'Brien. Charles had a winner during the week.
Did over hurdles.
This horse is, I think it's down to 51 now. But he's obviously been waiting for soft ground all year for it. I thought it was a real eye-catching debut run. Billy Lee is riding as well, so which I thought was interesting.
Who rides Yega in the big race?
Could be a huge price, this Face Off.
Yeah, Philly.
I kind of found one for Charles O'Brien as well,
51.
actually. Yeah. Crimson King, huge thing by Kingman in the 205, was 4th at the Curragh last time out. It's a monster of a horse.
Kingman's going to do good things.
Anyway, Crimson King in the 205. Have we given enough selections for Gowran?
Yeah,
the worst race of the weekend, and we've given 3 tips.
Yeah, I think they might even be. Are they the 2 divisions of the same race? They are actually. So Best Not Argue and into Cosmic Symbol and Yega in the big race, but it's trappy, and she's coming off a break, which is a bit of a worry.
Okie doke. Let's move on to Sunday, and we have Navin. We have jumps action back at Navin on Sunday. Return of Winter Sundays, I suppose that's what that means, really, isn't it, Jenna?
They were actually watering during the week. I was like, and I was looking out the window and it was a dead. It's only good ground, like. So it's still, even in the east, it's still not proper winter ground by any means.
So ultimately, you're disappointed.
Yeah, I think they're just taking the top bit off it. Like at Clonmel the other day, a couple of horses slipped because I think they're getting into the top, but it's so hard underneath from all the dry weather. It just hasn't eased out.
I thought this was a very tough card, but I did like it's all guesswork in the beginner's chase at 4:15.
Oh, I'm taking you on my nappers in that.
D-Donk?
No. Train wreck.
Train wreck.
Train wreck.
138 over hurdles. First time out over fence for Henry de Bromhead. Would you believe
Will
he ran
be
against
well
Sam
schooled.
Crow last time?
It did.
In a great one. And just thought its form over hurdles suggested that better things could be to come over fences.
I'm probably slightly reliant on that not becoming like another Henry horse that improves a lot, but it's all guesswork. Very, very solid. Jumps well. Gordon as well, a raid in America with Clarkham, and I was thinking, actually, a fellow was on to me about this during the week about having a horse. If Irish trainers should look at that race for the prize money. It's actually fairly winnable.
And then Jack Kennedy came, who had a winner in Belmont, then Zanjabil, and then back to Ballinrobe for the first.
Just one thing about Navin on Sunday. Jessica Harrington was interviewed in the parade ring after her winner at Clonmel on Thursday, and Dave Burns asked her for a horse to follow for the season. Obviously, it's recency bias, and she was thinking, what have I got entered? But she did say for the first half of the season, if she skipped punters, and there was about 12 people there, so she wasn't giving much away. But she said if one horse to follow for the first half of the season was Madison de Monroe, which runs in the 340 at Navin, won a maiden hurdle over 3 miles at Tipperary, and apparently it's improved inside out. So
okay.
Like that bit of info, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else for you on that Navin card?
No,
it's
no,
very
but
tricky.
it is nice to have it back, but there's something very strange about Navin this time of year and good ground and pleasant weather. Like Navin is all about Navin and Dundalk are the two coldest places I think I've ever been, and there's hardship of Navin. Good things in the maiden hurdles and the beginner's chase and desperate ground in the winter. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a place that you've never been where you have more in a coat.
Yeah, and even in the summer, and then go back to Mrs. O's and Screen for one of the best boozers in the world, no doubt.
Do you like Mrs. O's?
Love it.
Yeah.
A good racing crowd as well. Yeah. No TV. And used to
Guinness
close for 2 hours on the Sunday. Yeah.
That's some quality advice for not only Navin but general tourist information when you're around in Meath.
O'Connell's is the official name.
Yeah, on the Guinness ad is even at the home of the black stuff they dream of a white one.
Yeah. Free advertising.
Solid. Right, let's move on to our best bets of the weekend. Then, of course, Ladbrokes Ground Best Odds Guaranteed and has multiples from 12 to 2 in shops every day. Let's start with you, Jano. Best bet of the weekend and give us a multiple as well.
Yeah, best bet 425 air on Saturday, Collide. 125 air on Saturday, off piste. And in the 4:15 at Navin on Sunday, train wreck.
I'll give best not argue Cosmic Symbol and give a bit of value, sure, Son of Rest.
Any times or tracks or anything there, Johnny?
First two are Gowran.
Best not argue is 345 at Gowran.
Yeah, and then the other division, which is the second race, that's Cosmic Symbol. For Andrew Slattery, he's had a good campaign and a nice young lad as well, kind of has his head in his shoulders.
And Son of Rest is in the
Airgold Cup, which would be a nice win for Fozzie Stack. He's still only 2 or 3 seasons in, and this would be a nice winner for him.
Good stuff. Well, I've gone best not argue for it in the 345 at Gowran, in the 210 at Gowran, Burning Question, and going to pop up Crimson King in the 205 from Gowran as well. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week, but more What's the Word?